Hello everyone, and welcome to tonight's race here at SARATV. I'm your host here tonight, Derek Robinson. We got Clay Snyder up in the production truck producing tonight's race. We're here at Irwindale Speedway for the SARATV 150 for the SIL Marketing Solutions Super Series. Like I said, tonight we're at Irwindale, USA on this almost half-a-mile multi-banked oval, where the track temperature is at 107 degrees, so it's nice and slick, and the air temperature is at 80 degrees with clear skies and 6-mile-an-hour winds going through the south. Currently, the drivers are out here on track making their final practice laps and changes to their cars to get prepared for tonight's race. Before we get into all the activities here for this race tonight, talk about a little bit last week for the HoddsPride.com 150 at Oxford Plains Speedway, where we seen Jim Caudill Jr. walk away with his first victory, and what I mean walk away is in dominating fashion, leading 136 of 150 laps. Ryan Matthews edged out Joe Schaefer Jr. for second. Joe Schaefer Jr. ended up coming in third, where Ty Spearman was fourth. Cameron Hamilton did round out your top five. Like I said, here we are tonight for the SARATV 150. This track has always provided great racing, where in past races, guys have been able to run all the way down to the grass and all the way up to the wall if we had a lot of green flag lap runs, which we typically have here. Now with this new build, it's left to be seen if that's been able to happen or not. In last night's Contender Series, the Davis Chassis Works Contender Series, they were here last night and guys did not run down there. So it'll be interesting to see if that happens or not. Now, I would like to go ahead and pull in someone here and pull in our producer, Clay Snyder. You know, between me and him and Matt Rolfe, we started SARATV basically towards the middle part of last season, or excuse me, at the end of last year. And we'll bring him in here. Clay, thanks for joining me up in the booth. You don't rarely come up here at all, so I'm excited to see how this ends up going. But why don't you tell us a little bit, or tell everyone a little bit about SARATV and how we all got this thing going?
Yeah, thanks, Derek. So towards the end of the fall season of 2017, we had always had our super late model races broadcast, and the guy that we always had do that, or the company or whatever, just kind of went belly up, I guess. And so we were kind of mulling over like who we should have do it, and kind of weighed some options, and didn't really want to spend what some people were wanting. So we just kind of thought, hey, why don't we just do it in-house? So Matt and I kind of got the ball rolling on that towards the end of last year. We did a few test sessions just behind the scenes, got all our graphics together, got our cameras working how we wanted them, and talked you into being the announcer, and all's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I do miss racing on Thursday nights, and you might as well. But, you know, get to make up for it on the Wednesday night for the Contender Series. But I do enjoy it. You know, I did fantasy football podcast in the past, you know, so I had just a little bit of experience with doing some type of announcing, if you want to say. And, you know, it's been really fun. You and Matt pretty much do the legwork. I'm just the voice. But, you know, here we are with SARATV, and we got sponsors for every race. We got videos, and we got good views. And, you know, a lot of people like this broadcast. You know, you do a great job in the producing portion of it as well. Now we'll get Matt over here in a minute and get his little 2 cents on this in tonight's race. But one of these days when you get you up here in the booth, maybe you can produce and you can talk with me, or, you know, announce with me.
Yeah, I've thought about doing that too. It'd be kind of fun. Have to be at a track that I don't have to do a whole lot of camera work. Probably, hopefully, somewhere that we've had pretty caution-free races, I guess. But all in all, it's been a pretty fun deal. We've had our fair share of hiccups and all that, but supposedly tonight's the first time we're on iRacing Live, so hopefully we are. I know we've had some trouble getting on there, but everything's supposed to be worked out now. So yeah, it's been fun. Our views have been growing, our subscriptions have been growing, and overall I think it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, thanks to you and Matt and everyone that sponsors this league and series that, you know, allows us to do this, you know, week after week. And we keep getting better and better. I know you probably go back and watch the broadcast. I know I do, and critique everything about it and try to learn from it and grow. But, so tonight we're sponsoring a race for basically this league, for the fans, and then, for all the drivers out here, because, it gives us a lot of feedback as well, and it's usually good feedback. When we decided to sponsor tonight's race, because this is usually a track that T4X runs really well at, so we chose this race, and we'll see how everything ends up playing out. If Matt is back from we get a hold of him, we'll go ahead and pull him down here and get just a quick word with him. Matt, thanks for joining us up here in the booth tonight. Me and Clay talked about SARATV and how they got that ball rolling, and what you do for SARATV and for the league in of itself. We're sponsoring the race here tonight for the SARATV 150 at Irwindale. If you want to talk a little bit about SARATV and what you expect for it going forward, and then we can talk about your race coming up.
Yeah, so I'm sure you guys mentioned a little bit, but at the end of last year, we had a couple issues with our previous broadcasts at the end of the season. Just timing didn't work out for both parties, and we wanted to have our races broadcasted, so we were trying to find different routes to go in to see what we could do, and you guys stepped up in a big way and offered to be a part of this. I know, Derek, you'd probably be rather racing some of these nights than being up there in the booth, but appreciate you announcing and Clay doing all the work on the cameras and producing and all that stuff. So you guys have been a big help in getting this thing rolling, and so far, for the most part, everything's been pretty good. I think I heard Clay already mention we've been working through a couple small kinks, but we're still fairly new to this, getting ourselves up and going, but this has been a lot of fun just to have these broadcasts and have you guys be a part of it, so I appreciate all that.
Yeah, well, it's worked out good, and I think everyone enjoys it for the most part. But enough about pumping us up here. Let's talk about you tonight. Let's pump you up maybe a little bit. Irwindale's been one of the tracks that T4X can hang their hat on and run extremely well here, and if not win. Last night, unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it, so I can't give you any feedback on how the racing's going to be or, what maybe to expect. So maybe you can enlighten us just a little bit on what you expect here tonight, especially with the new build.
Yeah, we're still in that new build period of it's kind of throw some hiccups our way on the setups and having to rebuild everything. And the way this current build is right now on this track, it's actually pretty slick out here. Not even dealing with the weather conditions at all. It's just a slick track and slick car right now. So I think I got a lot of guys that are fighting loose off. So you're going to see guys probably slide around a little bit here tonight. As you know, in the past, there's been guys that have liked to run way up against the wall on the high side, and there's a couple guys like myself that like to run down on the apron once the track wears out. I'm not sure if that's going to be an option here tonight, and I'm not even sure how good my setup is here tonight. So we'll find out how it goes, but hopefully we can get a couple different grooves going, especially if we have a long run. I know in last night's Contender Series race, at least the one I watched, guys pretty much stayed in the main groove most of the night, and some passes were being made a little bit low, but they were never down towards the apron, and there wasn't a whole lot of people running up high, so the groove kind of stayed where it was, but maybe we'll see that change a little bit here tonight, and we'll see what happens.
All right, well, we'll definitely keep an eye on that and see how things end up shaking out. Good luck to you here tonight, and once again, thanks for everything that you do for the league, and like I said, for helping with the SARATV, and maybe we'll talk to you a little bit later.
All right, thanks.
All right, bud. Yeah. That was our series and league admin, Matt Rolfe. Like I said, without him, these things couldn't happen, and without him and Clay, SARATV couldn't happen. So what makes all this go around, and this is what you're watching here tonight. So hopefully you enjoy it. Now, if you do want to sign up to race with the SARA League at the Sim Auto Racing Association, go on over to racesara.com, check out our website page. And you can go ahead and sign up. We got our dirt nights for the race midgets and UMP modifieds on Monday nights, Callaway Investment Sportsman Series on Tuesday night for the street stocks, the Davis Chassis Works Contender Series, which is the super late models. Same everything, same track conditions, track and all that. It's just maybe a few laps shorter here and there sometimes. And then you got the Sim Marketing Solutions Super Series here tonight, which is invite only. So these guys got invited to race on Thursday nights because they've proven themselves in the past to be fast, clean, and put on great races. Now everyone's starting to grid up here, and we'll go ahead and go through your lineup. There was a 7-car invert tonight. Ty Spearman was your pole sitter. He's actually going to go 6th because Jim Caudill Jr., who won last week, qualified in the top 10. And due to that and winning last week, he gets to start 10th. So he gets kind of a little winner's penalty and starting there towards the back in 10th, but that's okay. So after the invert, Dallas Pataska is your pole sitter. Starting on the outside of him in the 10 car is Cameron Hamilton. Third is DK David Kokorian. He usually runs well here, right up against the wall, so we'll keep an eye out for him. Fourth is your 3-time series champion in Joe Schaefer Jr. Starting fifth with a great qualifying time is Daniel Williamson. Sixth, like I stated, is the old Wily vet, Ty Spearman. Let's keep an eye on him. Seventh is Tyler Breeding. Eighth is Trevor Edwards. Ninth is Ryan Matthews. And 10th is Jim Caudell Jr., which is last week's winner. He's been fast with this new build. Starting 11th is Jason Miller. 12th is Jimmy Mullis, who is the series champion last year, so he's always fast. 13th is Michael Goddard. 14th is Ryan Doucette. And 15th is Keith Medeiros. Now, in that row there, in row 7, is for the Heinz Pride head-to-head showdown, which basically whoever finishes higher between these two guys will get a little extra bonus money at the end of the race. So we'll have to keep an eye out for them and see who ends up doing better. Both those guys are fast, so it should be a good battle. Starting 16th is Donald Clark. 17th is Drew Kryback. 18th is Tyler Price. 19th is who we just spoke with in Matt Rolfe. 19th is Ben Nile. 21st is Matthew Eddy. 22nd is Russell Berry. 23rd, Brandon Wilkinson. 24th, AJ Rogers. 25th, Grant Brown. 26th, Mark Royer. And 27th, last but not least, is Alan Pajari. As we're about to come to the green flag here, the pace is set with Dallas Pataska. He controls the start. Lick the stamp. We are green, green, green. Pataska gets off to a good start, but so does Cameron Hamilton as they go down into one, and they already banged doors just a little bit, battling over real estate. David Kokorian is going to fall into third, and Joe Schaefer Jr. is going to look on the outside of him. Like I said, in the old build, you can run from top to bottom in these cars, and with it being slick conditions, you still might be able to do that if we get a lot of green flag runs. Dallas Pataska still leading the way. David Kokorian and Joe Schaefer Jr. are running side by side. As Joe Schaefer Jr. is going to come out on top on that, as it looks like the high side is the preferred groove early on. Now, just a quick note here as well. Like I said, it's 150 laps here tonight. There's no extra tires. This is an open setup league just across all 4 nights, so there's no fixed setups. There's no fast resets, and we do have a gentleman's rule here as well in the Semi-Auto Racing Association, where if you do cause a caution, it is highly encouraged that you claim fault for that caution. You'll be given an EOL during the race. If you do not, and the admins go back and rewatch the race and deem that you were the cause of that caution, you'll get an EOL in the results. So it's always best to go ahead and claim it. Go back here to Ty Spearman. Him and Tyler Green in the 25 car side by side here for the sixth place position. You see a couple guys running a little bit lower, and Tyler Breeding, especially Jim Caudell Jr. If they're able to get that to work, they will, they will maybe make some passes. But it looks like we got a battle for the lead. Cameron Hamilton's looking down to the inside of Dallas Pataska. Joe Schaefer Jr. wants in on the phone as well. And we got a 3-car battle for the lead. Give it to Pataska that lap. Coming off for 2. Down the backstretch, they're still side by side. Cameron Hamilton may have just a little bit faster car if he's able to hang down low like this. On Pataska, give the lead to the 10 car. Cameron Hamilton, new leader. This groove may move around all race, with just, like I stated last night, the Contender Series. Apparently they were in the main groove, but, you got different drivers, different cars, and people learn from that race. So, see how end up things shaking out as Joe Schaefer Jr. now is given a battle for Dallas Pataska here for second place. And he's going to have him cleared coming out of 2 and down the backstretch. So Dallas Pataska goes from first to third in just a handful of laps. Like I said, if anyone that is like Kyle Larson fans or, people that like to ride the rim, rip off the top, that's going to be David Kokorian in the 66 car. Go back to Trevor Edwards here in the 32. Got Jim Caudell Jr. and Jimmy Mullis just behind him. You see Caudell Jr., that's about where I would be running, if not a little bit lower if it would work here. And sometimes you got to run where they're not, and that's what he's trying to do here right now without killing his stuff. He can get the drive out of the turn. he could definitely make some headway down there, as he's pretty much the only one that is running that low on the track currently. They have a good battle here. This is for the 9th position and 10th position. This is your best battle on the racetrack, as you have some that's up just in front of them as well, as they're almost 3 wide through the turn. Mullis is kind of looking. Yeah, Mullis was wise there, and he just kind of backed out. It's a little early to go 3 wide, but maybe he's just trying to get some clean air on his nose and seeing what Edwards is doing, or maybe even just seeing what's available on the track as far as grip-wise. Jason Miller, no, it's Ryan Doucette, excuse me, just behind them is kind of running where Caudell Jr. is running. Mullis is going to venture down there now as well. Mullis appears to be faster than these 2 guys, but you just got to, there he goes, Caudell Jr. in front of Edwards, so he made that work, and he's going to go up the track just a little bit. So the bottom may have some speed left in it here, way out of distance, which is not in view. Matt Rolfe there in the back, he's trying the yellow line, you know, where he's on the apron, just to see what's down there. He's in a position where he can do that back in 21st currently. Oh, and Ryan Doucette there in the 77 and in 12th was all crossed up coming out of 4. And he still makes a pass coming out of 2. So Doucette was strong last week. He won in the Oxford Plains in the Contender Series last week, so he definitely has some speed. Passed me for the win. And Owen Edwards and Mullis hit. And who was that? Oh, it was Goddard. They got involved in it there, and Donald Clark as well. Looks like Jimmy Mullis got into the left rear of Trevor Edwards. Go ahead and watch this on the SARATV Instant Replay, and we'll see what ends up happening here. I know that they're running close together. Him coming out of 2, it's going to be on this very next lap, getting into 1. Close there in the middle of 3 and 4 already, but that's typical short track racing. They get in, and well, that's a tough one. They were just battling over the position. Michael Goddard, tough luck there. He had nowhere to go and just hit Trevor Edwards hard. Goddard actually got the worst end of that. Edwards is going to get spun around here a little bit. We'll end up seeing what see if Jimmy Mullis ends up claiming this or not. He may or may not. Extremely tight getting down into 1. They're just fighting over real estate. If he does end up taking it, there was plenty of time left. We're only on lap 21 of 150. Currently, Cameron Hamilton is your leader with Joe Schaefer Jr. in 2nd, Dave Gakori in 3rd, Tyler Breeding in 4th, and Talis Pataska, who started on the pole. He was not technically fast time in queue, but started on the pole due to the invert, is 5th. Ty Spearman, who was fastest qualifier, is currently 7th. Started 6th, so he's down 1 position. If I know Ty, he's not pushing it too hard right now. He knows there's plenty of time left and saving his stuff. Fourth in Talis. We have a moment here. Let's go ahead and bring up the series sponsors for the SARA partners. Give a big shout out to all these guys. Here's what makes these things go around, what makes this broadcast happen as well. You got the Sim Marketing Solutions, who sponsors this this series. Davis Chassis Works, who sponsors the Contender Series on Wednesday nights. Hot's Pride Leather and Sheepskin, who's doing the head-to-head contest throughout the Super Series on Thursday nights. And they sponsor some other races there for us as well. You got Midwest Power Source, Callaway Investments, who sponsors our Street Stock Series, Race1.us, Canadian Rail Serve, the Hub Used Sim Racing Giveaways, Loco Toco Designs, Dynamic Auto Sports, USO, Can-Am Racing Series, and the East West Modified. So thanks to those guys for everything they do for this series. As I don't believe that Jimmy Mullis is going to take the EOL. He's going to chance it there. And like I said, it was tough. He may not have thought he did anything wrong, which he may not have. I'm not saying he was or insinuating anything. We're going to come to 1 to go here. Restart will be on Cameron Hamilton. Basically, he can go whenever he likes, but he has to wait until the pace car has all 4 tires off the racing surface. Here, it's not usually a big deal because he'll peel off on the backstretch. And like I said, restart will be on him. You'll have to watch out for wheel spin with these cars. A lot of horsepower, small tires. See what kind of start he has here. We're green, green, green. He's spun it a little bit. Joe Schaefer Jr. tried to time the restart, and he just mistimed it. Tyler Breeding and David Kikorian are behind him, and it's double foul way on back. Good restart there for Cameron Hamilton. Kikorian's going to try to capitalize on this restart and get what he can. He's running side by side with Tyler Breeding. If not careful, Daniel Wilson on the 52 car will sneak around him on the outside and can make this a 3-wide battle. That's extremely close coming out of 2. Kikorian's going to try to give it his all, and he's going to sneak up. Williamson's going to look on the outside of him. He's not able to make it happen. It's Dallas Pataska now, and Ty Spearman are running side by side. That's a battle for 6th position. Spearman's trying to get back even on his plus-minus here tonight from his starting position, as he's -1 currently. Matthews is on the outside of him, and last week's winner, Jim Caudell Jr., just behind them. You could throw a blanket over about 6th through 12th right now. A little bit more than that, 6th to 14th. It looks like early on that the inside, well, if you want to call it the inside, it's about the middle of the track, has a decent enough grip to, to hang on there, and the outside really can't do too much. If we get a long green flag run, it'll be interesting to see if these guys do end up moving up the track or down the track. But currently, right there in the middle, it is the fastest way around. Spearman does finally get up to 6th. Task is going backwards, unfortunately, as Jim Caudell Jr. is battling him for 7th. You got a 3 wide right there in the middle of 3 and 4 with Pataska, Matthews, and Mullis. Get that figured out before they get down into 1. We're on lap 32 of 150, still a long way to go, but there's plenty of action all over this track as guys are trying to figure out the fastest way around. Lap times are extremely close from top to bottom. You're only talking a couple of tenths here and there in variance, as Ty Spearman and Jim Caudell Jr. is all over the rear end of Daniel Williamson here for 5th. Spearman's done pulled the pin and says it's time to go. Going to look down to the inside of Williamson, getting into 3. Looks like Spearman's car turned extremely well there in the center. Go back down into 1. Just there, just in your screen, was David Kikorian, who's already moved up. He's got a little buffer here behind him, so he can venture around and try to find some grip if possible. Now, if he does end up making up some time, you best well believe that everyone will start moving up. We'll see what he does here. Like I said, he is rim riding. Let's go up there and watch him real quick up here in 4th. Watch how close he gets to this wall. He gets a huge run down the straightaways. Carries momentum extremely well. And he's going to get a big run right here. Lap time wise, he was about a half tenth faster than anyone else. So he is he's making up some time there up top. Like I said, as soon as he makes a pass, everyone will either move up there or well, they'll just move up there. I mean, that's just what they'll do. People pay attention here, especially in this series. You can't get anything over on anyone, as these are some of the fastest super late model drivers on the service, period. Now, David Kikorian, if you want to come out Monday nights, you think this guy can run the outside good here, you ought to come out Monday nights when he's in a midget or a UMP. This guy just rim rides, and you can see his dirt experience paying off here as he is up there just, I'm not calling it the cushion because it's not a cushion, but he's just up there close to the wall, and he's comfortable there as he's starting to make his way around Tyler Breeding here for 3rd. And as you just see right there, I mean, there's multiple grooves anywhere. So you pick a place where your car works and you go. As David Kikorian's now in 3rd, and look at this. Joe Schaefer Jr. has moved up a little bit. And DK makes it look easy. This is his MO here. He gets his way up and up towards the top. and rim rides it. Rarely do you see him get into the wall, as he's still the fastest car on the track currently. Joe Schaefer Jr. has moved up, and man, he throws it in there on the outside of Cameron Hamilton. If he can make it stick, he may start giving him a hard way to go here for first, as he just lost a little momentum. He's going to do it here again. Cameron Hamilton's going to go up and take the line away from him. We go on the outside. They're coming up on lap down traffic. That's Matthew Eddy that they're catching up on. Matthew Eddy's up running up there in that same line. David Corey can't get any closer to the wall. Corey still your fastest car. Well, him and Cameron Hamilton ran the same lap time that last lap. All technicality, your Jim Caldwell Jr. is your fastest car that last lap. Caldwell's running in the middle. Him and Ty Spearman are having a great battle. These guys seem like they've evened down a little bit. Let's go back here to Ty Spearman. You got Ryan Matthews, Jim Caldwell Jr., Daniel Williamson, Tyler Price right there with Jimmy Mullis. You got about 8 cars right here all over each other. And just shortly behind them is about another 5 to 6 cars. And this is what I'm talking about. I mean, this is a very competitive series, open setups. So you have multiple ways to skin a cat, per se, and these guys' setups aren't the same outside of teammates. And none of these guys are teammates right in here. Task is all the way up to the top. Mullis is all the way down at the bottom. Joe Schaefer Jr. going back up here to the lead real quick. Battling Cameron Hamilton for the lead. Cameron Hamilton's going to get him. Give it to Joe Schaefer Jr. that lap. Actually, it was a dead heat on the scoreboard. Got a good battle, and like I stated, I mean, as soon as DK made that pass, Joe Schaefer Jr. hopped up top. There's Cameron Hamilton down at the white line. These guys are still side by side, but that outside line is going to have the momentum. New leader, Joe Schaefer Jr. David Kukorian is going to fall in and try to run right in his tracks to get up here to second. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens then, because they're both running similar lines. David Kukorian's about a half lane higher, and if he's able to sneak that nose just on the right rear of the corner, it's going to force Joe Schaefer Jr. to move down just a little bit. Fastest car in track, still Jim Caldwell Jr., and he's cutting into the lead here. He's only 1.3 seconds away from these guys. Well, excuse me, he's about 2 seconds away. He's 1.3 away from Tyler Reading. Leaders are still catching the traffic here. They haven't caught up to him yet, so even the guys here at the tail end still showing some decent speed. Matthew Eddy ran at 18:43, and your leaders are at 18:42. So, you know, you tell me. You know, these guys here are almost going a lap down and running the same speed as the leaders. So, right now it's just all about track position, where your car's at. As Matthew Eddy and Grant Brown get a little bit of contact, Joe Schaefer Jr. is going to take evasive action. He's going to go down low. Let's see what David Kukorian does as well. May end up having to follow him here. If you're Joe Schaefer, if you're Matt Eddy, he's going to maybe let these guys go, but if you're him, you got a battle here, because you definitely want to be either the first car a lap down or just not a lap down at all, as these guys are going to battle hard here. So if you're the leader, you're going to have to figure it out, find a way around. Joe Schaefer Jr. I think he's going to have Grant Brown cleared here. Yes, he did. He'll pull away from David Kukorian in just a little bit, so that's what he's looking for here, to get a little breathing room from him and David Kukorian, who's in second place. Grant Brown and Matthew Eddy are still battling to be the first car to lap down. There's still a little time before they catch Russell Berry here in 22nd. Right now, Matthew Eddy is your first car one lap down. If a caution came out, he'd get the free pass, which is what you want. Like I said, you can't take tires here, so there's only one way to get back around the leader. That's his only option. We'll go back here to Jimmy Mullis. He's in P9 fighting Tyler Price in the 08 car. He's got Ryan Doucette in front of him and Ryan Matthews in the 51 just in front of him. Yeah, towards the back of this pack here, either the guys' cars aren't working up high, or they just haven't got the memo yet. And you see Matt Rolfe there just in the back of the screen. He's way down on the apron. Let's go back to him just real quick. Let's watch what kind of line he's taking. 1 and 2, he's going down to the white line. They'll come out of 4 here, or out of 2, excuse me, down the backstretch. And he's going to shoot way below the white line. He ran a 18.72 that last lap. Meadows just in front of him ran a 62, so it was about a 10th slower. But if we stay green flag, I believe that line potentially could come in. It may not. But that's one line that used to work in the last build or last season. Unfortunately, it doesn't look to be as fast, or the car's not handling like Matt wants to. Now he's up to P15. He started 21st, if I'm not mistaken, or 20th. But he's made his way up here just a little bit as Ben Nile comes flying down pit road. Must be having an issue. We got Jim Caudill Jr., who's already worked his way up to 3rd. This guy is on the move in his C&J service. Number 1 Ford Fusion. Then he was your winner last week. He's showing some strength here again this week. He's out of Whitesburg, Kentucky. As Joe Schaefer Jr. is pulled out to about 1.2 second lead over David Krikorian. Jim Caudill Jr. is 1.4 behind David Krikorian. And yeah, right now, Joe Schaefer Jr. is fastest car on the track. Yeah, Joe Schaefer Jr. is running right there in the middle. He's got away from the top side. He's running the middle. And him and David Krikorian are trading laps back and forth as far as who is fastest, and really no one's gaining or losing on each ground on each other. It's a half-tenth here and there each time. Schaefer Jr. runs a 60, and David Krikorian's ran a 46, so DK may be able to reel him back in here. Mark Royer, they just got around. Mark Royer's a couple of laps down there, so Matthew Eddy's still your lucky dog if the caution does come out. Joe Schaefer Jr. moves back up to the top of the track, realizing that he's losing some time, sometimes 1.5 to almost 2/10 of a second each lap. So DK's getting a little bit bigger in his mirror, and he's he moved out the track, made the appropriate line changes, and now they've kind of equaled back off just a little bit. Back here to Tyler Price. He's working over Ryan Matthews. They're running side by side. As we're on lap 67 and 150, getting close to halfway through this SARATV 150 here at Irwindale Speedway. If you're just now joining us, Joe Schaefer Jr. took over the lead, and he's had the lead here for quite some time. We've had one caution where Trevor Edwards got taken out by Jimmy Mullis, excuse me, and we've been green since. That happened early on. Like I said, Joe Schaefer Jr. is leading the way. He's led 23 laps here. And currently Tyler Price is, he started 18th and he's 7th here. So Price has worked his way up. He's plus 11, which so far is a good night for him. Go ahead and go through. Let's go ahead and go a little through a rundown here of the top 10. We'll look at each one of them here. Joe Schaefer Jr., like I said, he's currently your leader. He started 4th. He's up to 1st, and he's led about 25 laps here tonight. David Krikorian started 3rd, currently 2nd, so he's only plus 1, but he's trying to track down Joe Schaefer Jr. Jim Caudell Jr. started 10th due to winning the race last week. He qualified in the top 10 this week. He starts 10th automatically due to the winner's handicap. He's currently up to 3rd. Tyler Breeding started 7th, up to 4th. He's +3 on the night. The old Wiley vet Ty Spearman was your fastest qualifier here tonight due to the 7-car invert. He started 6th. If that math doesn't add up to you, that means Jim Caudell Jr. qualified in the top 7. He went back to 10th, so that's why Spearman did not start 7th. But he's +1 on the night in 5th. Ryan Matthews started 9th, currently up to 6th. He's +3 on the night, having a good run. Tyler Price in the 08 car, like I stated, started 18th. He's up to 7th. He's +11. Ryan Doucette just behind him, started 16th, up to 8th, +8. Jimmy Mullis started 12th, up to 9th. He hasn't gained as many as he probably would like, but he's still gained here a little bit. It's at +3. And our big loser, unfortunately, here tonight is 10th with Dallas Pataska. He started on the pole, and he's -9. That's your top 10 there currently. Go ahead and keep on going down the line here. We got Daniel Williamson, who started 5th here tonight. He's -6. You're going to start seeing some guys who are going the wrong direction here, unfortunately. Talked to this guy earlier in the race with Matt Rolfe. He's +7 here tonight. Started 19th, up to 12th. He's still running that bottom line. He's not going to give up on it. 13th is Keith Meteros. Started 15th, up to 13th. He's at a +2. 14th is Jason Miller. He's started 11th, so he's down 3 positions. Still a long way to go, just past halfway. He can make it back up. The old wild man Drew Kryback, currently 15th, started 17th. He's up 2. Currently 16th is Brandon Wilkinson. Excuse me, Brandon. Started 23rd. He's up 7 positions. 17th, who got in that wreck as A.J. Rogers just gets around him. 17 car in 17th, excuse me. A.J. Rogers started 24th, and he's up 7 positions to 17th. I'll get it out eventually. Donald Clark got caught up in that first wreck. Unfortunately, couldn't get it woe down in time. He started 16th. He's down 2 to 18th. Russell Berry's qualified 22nd here tonight. He's up 19th. He's +3, as the leaders just got around him, so he's first car lap down. Alan Pajari started 27th. He's currently up 7 positions in 20th. Matthew Eddy's in 21st. Started 21st, so he's even on the night. Grant Brown started 25th, up to 22nd, so he's +3. Mark Royer started 26th, up to 23rd, so good for him. He's up 3 positions. Trevor Edwards, your big loser here for tonight. Unfortunately, he got caught up in that first accident. Tore up the car a little bit, I'm sure. He's down 16 positions as he's 24th currently. Started 8th. Cameron Hamilton is on pit road. Missed what happened with him, unfortunately. So I'm not too sure what happened with him, but he started 2nd. He's down 23. So there you go, Trevor. You're not the worst one. Ben Al started 20th. He's 26th. We've seen him pull off onto pit road. Maybe. I'm not too sure if he got caught on camera or not. And Michael Goddard is started 13th. Currently going to finish last here tonight. He got caught up in that wreck with Trevor Edwards. Go back up here to the leader, if my cameras can work here right on my side. And DK's done caught back up to Joe Schaefer Jr. Right on his tail. He's just a few tenths off of him here. We're on lap 84 of 150. We've been green for quite some time here. Forgot to write down when we went back to green, but we've been green for probably about 50 to 60 laps. As this has a green flag fill, Schaefer Jr. gets extremely close to the wall, getting into 3. They're catching up to Donald Clark and A.J. Rogers here to almost put them a lap down. Let's see if we can go on board here with DK for a couple of laps and see what he's looking at. Watch how close he's getting to the wall. Schaefer Jr. almost gets into the wall there. He still gets a good drive out the turn, so the car's cutting in the center pretty well. as you see, gets a little loose out of 4. Facing the car just a little bit. I'm sure most of these guys are. It is slick out here with 107-degree track temps at the start of the race. They may have gone up a little bit now that all the cars have been out here making laps. Hearing play with the throttle a little bit as well, which is typical with this new build with these cars with added horsepower. Like I said, they've got, for all intents and purposes, the tires on them are small compared to the horsepower that they do make. And you have to pedal it with all those bald eagles coming out from that V8 super late model motor. We'll see with Joe Schaefer Jr. Both of them looks like they get into the wall and scrape a little bit. Seen sparks fly. They're catching up to AJ Rogers, and if you're AJ Rogers, you're not gonna let these guys go easy, as you want to stay on the lead lap just in case that caution comes out. We see Joe Schaefer Jr. shooting down low. He's going to get around AJ Rogers. As Rogers looks like he may have gotten into a wall a little bit. Didn't hold up DK2 too bad. Guys are left to battle it out here. Currently, these guys have about almost a 3.5 second lead over Jim Caudell Jr. And he has about a 2-second cushion behind Tyler Breeding, and then about a 4 behind that for Ty Spearman. So the 3rd, 4th, and 5th are kind of spread out here, especially from the leaders. We're going to go ahead and keep an eye still on this battle, as this is probably the best one here on the track, especially these guys up here rim riding. It's pretty exciting because one little mistake, they can get caught up in the wall, and if anyone's ever raced here or pretty much on the surface at all, that wall monster come out and reach and grab you, and you'll hang on to the wall for longer than you want to, and it's hard to get out of it. Also, these tires have been known to grip the wall, shoot you up, flip you over, end your night. Now, we'll give a little shout out to Joe Schaefer Jr. as well. He finished 2nd in a midget race on Monday night at Charlotte. And he doesn't come out too often on the dirt stuff, especially for the midgets. Dream is set up, and he went out there and willed it to a 2nd place finish, so kudos for him. And it looks like he's putting some of that experience to use here tonight at Irwindale. And if he keeps running well like this, especially with, if he keeps running dirt with this, may see some more guys on Thursday night come out Monday night, because these 2 guys right here were with us on Monday night, and I don't think it's any coincidence that they're running 1-2. We're watching these guys just looking through the field. You got some guys that are running high in the middle. I don't think anyone's running low anymore. And as I say that, Matt Rolfko shoots down there. So let's go right on board with him. We showed you how it looks like up next to the wall. We'll go ahead and show you what it looks like to go all the way down low. As you see him, early apex, gets down there. Sounds like he's getting pretty good drive off. See if he shoots down back down to the bottom again, as he does. As you can see, there's no rubber down here at all. And prior, that would give you a lot of grip, and you can make some moves. I don't know if it works so well now, but he's trying it out as he's worked his way up to 10th. So he's up 9 positions, and I think there's something to be said for running down there. It looks like someone just up in front of him, maybe Tyler Price, was running it as well, and it's not as easy as what you would think it is. I can guarantee you that. I know at T4X, being a part of T4X, we had a setup that we developed that could work down there. So if you had your car set up for the main line or even up top, you ain't running down low. I can guarantee you that. So we try to do that here again with this setup, as he got a little bit loose. But he's still going to run down low, and he's catching up to Jimmy Mollison. And he may be trying to make a move on him here within about the next 5 to 10 laps. But as you can see, there's more than one way to get around this place and make up time, just like there's more than one way to create a setup for these super late models. Matt's going to go ahead and go back up to the top here once more. And this is where all excitement comes from. That's why a lot of people like this track, especially with this car. There's options. And sometimes it can be frustrating and making a pass on someone. But, for us up here in the booth and for you all watching at home, it makes for some exciting racing. Not missing anything up here back up front is David Krikorian still on the tire tracks of Joe Schaefer Jr. These guys are not leaving the wall. I think David Krikorian's moved down about a half a lane. And, yeah, he's about down a half lane, and they're still trading times back and forth. We're on lap 105 now of 150 as we're coming down towards the last half of the, or excuse me, not the last half, the last third of this race. Here, Schaefer Jr. is going to get around Grant Brown. David Krikorian's making up a little bit of time there on Joe. Like I said, here for the Sim Marketing Solutions Super Series, it is invite only. And basically, the way you get up here is you can come on over out Wednesday night to Davis Chassis Works Contender Series. You sign up, come out and race there. If you race well and you race clean, not necessarily you don't have to win all the time, but if you run up front and you race clean, you will get an invite up here to the Thursday night Sim Marketing Solutions Super Series. That can work just the opposite too. Some of these guys that are up here, if they wreck a lot, they're not running extremely well, or whatever the case may be, they can get demoted down to the Davis Chassis Works Contender Series. That's not a bad thing because you come out Wednesday night, you're gonna have your hands full. As David Krikorian's all over the back of Joe Schaefer Jr. now. Like I said, go to racesara.com to sign up if you want to race with us. Go to our Facebook page at SimAutoRacingAssociation.com. Check that out. Got a good community there, a group of drivers, huge roster group of drivers. And Schaefer Jr. is into the wall there just a little bit. These guys are barely scraping the wall, and they're getting away with it. Can't flirt with it too much more than that, or you'll be up a creek without a paddle. And if you don't know what that means, it's because you're too young. Krikorian gets loose out of 4. I mean, these guys are pushing. They know this thing's probably going to go green the rest of the way, and they cannot make any mistakes if they want to win here tonight. And if there's a guy that makes very few mistakes, it is definitely Joe Schaefer Jr. But if there's a guy that is going to push you into one, it's going to be David Krikorian. Sim Marketing Solutions, they hopped on board with us this year, really helped us out with this whole invite league deal here on Thursday nights. If you're interested or you want to know what Sim Marketing Solutions is, they introduce real-world sponsors to sim racers and works with them to ensure they receive maximum benefit for their exposure to the sim racing community. So if you're interested in it, hit up Grant Brown. Go check them out at Sim Marketing Solutions. They can hook you up with some pretty cool package deals and get you some exposure there in the sim racing community. They got some guys on the Pro Series that they sponsor. They got some guys here tonight and in some other leagues, and really helped them out. So definitely go check them out and appreciate what they do for us here on Thursday nights. As Joe Schaefer Jr., I tell you what, he's at least making it exciting. From my vantage point, he is throwing it into the turn, and he cannot get any closer to the wall, and I think he may be overdriving it here as David Krikorian is just filling up his mirror with his Exalta Chevrolet. Now, these two guys have about 2.5 second gap behind them. Jim Caudill Jr.'s trimmed him down a little bit. It was about 3.5 seconds. But if you're David Krikorian, when do you try the bottom? When do you try something here to make a move on Joe Schaefer Jr., especially if you think you're faster? Jim Caudill Jr. keeps catching these guys. Last lap, looks like Schaefer was just a hair faster than Caudill Jr., as he did just pull a little bit of gap on David Krikorian. So Schaefer Jr. is going to get away from the wall finally. He was up there. You couldn't fit a sheet of paper between him and the wall. So kudos for him for pretty much not ruining the car at all. And he was flirting with it. Now, Jim Caudill Jr., who's just out of screen here. Actually, let's just go back to him real quick. We'll go back to Jim Caudill Jr. He may end up making a race of this, but as you can tell, his line's completely different from these guys. He's moved down. He's not as far down as Matt Rolfe, but he's not as far up as these guys either. He's right in the middle, and, he's currently about a half-tenth faster, almost a tenth and a half faster than our leader running this line here. So given with the amount of laps left, going to be 30 at the line, And the amount of time as far as how fast he is, he may be able to reel these guys in. He's 2.2 seconds down from David Krikorian, call it 2.5 down from Joe Schaefer Jr. He might be able to do it. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on last week's winner, see if he's able to reel him in and go back-to-back here. Joe Schaefer Jr. is catching up to some traffic here. He's catching up to Trevor Edwards, who got in that first incident, or was our first caution. Potentially no fault of his own. And you got Alan Pajari just in front of him. So if these guys are going to be running the top, or they're not going to be giving the leaders any kind of breaks, someone's going to have to make a move to the bottom. But who's it going to be? Trevor Edwards is going to run the bottom. If this thing stays green, they may eventually catch a big gaggle of cars just in front of them as Trevor Edwards is going to pull down. Classy move by him. Pajari's not going to give him that much of a break, I don't think. We'll see what he... Okay, makes a liar out of me. He's going to go down to the inside, let these guys race it out. But as stated just a second ago, there's a big gaggle of cars just in front of them. They may not give it up as easily as they're going to be battling for position. And... no, they don't want to give up position as the points in this series it's pretty tight currently. As Joe Schaefer Jr. is up over Jimmy Mullis and Jim Caudell Jr. Now he's up by 50, 51 and 58 points. They have the same races counted. Still a long way to go, as it's only after 5 races. We got 12 here, 2 drop weeks. So we're about halfway through the championship as far as your counting finishes go. David Krikorian's reeled Joe Schaefer Jr. back in here just a little bit. They're going tit for tat on these lap times. Jim Caudell Jr. still running the bottom. If we get a caution, you might as well throw everything out the window, because who in the heck knows what's going to happen then. Well, let's not worry about that right now, as these guys have been going green here for almost 100. There's the old broadcaster curse. I called it with if their caution comes out, and there was one. I'm not 100% sure. There's someone down the inside wall. It looks like it was Jason Miller. Yeah, it's Jason Miller. They got turned around there. Go ahead and go back to our SARATV instant replay, sponsored by SARATV. Jason Miller here down the inside, and Matthew Eddy is Dallas Pataska just there behind him. AJ Rogers just on the outside. There's Matt Rolfe running down low. And Pataska gets into the left rear of Jason Miller, brings out the caution. If you're Joe Schaefer Jr., that's what you do not want to see, because he does not have lane choice. And with as many laps as they have on these tires, and how hot they are, and how slick the track is, someone's going to spin their tires. We're going to have to find out who. If you're Joe Schaefer Jr., pray that it is not you. But we'll have to see, because whoever gets to the outside first on this restart, I think, is going to be the one that has the advantage. And Jim Caudell Jr. has been running down low, so he knows what's down there. He might be able to use that to his advantage and work over both these guys and get a little 2-for-1. We're at 20 to go. All bets are off now on this caution. Everyone's going to be digging, getting what they can. We're going to have a huge group of cars that go down into turn 1, and they will be from top to bottom on the track. You can blame that caution on me if you like, since I brought it up. Caution came out. It never fails. It happens in stick and ball sports. It happens in racing. Announcer brings something up that shouldn't, and it happens. So I'm sure I'll be hearing it from Joe Schaefer Jr. probably tomorrow in the Facebook chat, where he'll just come over and say this is completely my fault if he does not win the race, because he was out front. Kind of holding off David Krikorian here for a second. Joe Schaefer Jr. is a super competitive guy. He's not a 3-time series champion for no reason. If David Krikorian does get around him, you best believe that Joe Schaefer Jr. is going to give him everything that he wants and then some. I mean, this guy would take out his mom to win a race. Usually I take out his mom after the race. But during this race, we'll see what ends up happening. And he's got control of the restart. Joe Schaefer Jr. on this restart. We'll make sure to see if he doesn't spin his tires as we are back to green, green, green. He did a great job. So did David Krikorian on this restart as Joe Schaefer Jr. is going to go ahead and block the high line. Jim Caudill Jr. is going to go down low. They got these tires cooled off a little bit. There may be a little bit of grip down there for Jim Caudill Jr., but this guy was just as fast as the leaders. So he's going to make this a 3-horse race, guaranteed. As I stated before the restart, everyone's going to be going from high to low because you got to go where they're not. You got David Krikorian, got a good run coming out of 2 here. And this is pretty much like we're on replay for about the past 100 laps. David Krikorian right on the tail of Joe Schaefer Jr. Jim Caudill Jr. just running down low, wheeling it sideways, coming out of 4, doing everything he can to catch up to these leaders. Coming out of turn 2, Schaefer Jr. gets into wall a little bit as we're at 15 to go. Lap times have kicked down just a couple of tenths. So the pace has definitely picked up. Joe Schaefer Jr. throwing the deuces out the window, trying to pull away from David Krikorian. Schaefer Jr. looks like he might have been up into the wall there into 4, just barely scraping it. Floating down a little bit too, as David Krikorian is getting through 1 and 2 extremely well here. That might be where we look to see where he's going to make his pass. One of these guys are going to have to do something. If you're Joe Schaefer Jr. and you're this close as David Krikorian's giving him a heck of a run down the straightaway, the inside line is as extremely close as he's on him. Coming out too, he's right on his rear bumper. We got a heck of a race on our hands here. Do not go anywhere as anything is going to happen. If it is going to happen, it's going to happen between these 2 guys. As David Krikorian's looking down to the inside, decides better of it, backs out of it a little bit, getting into 1. He is rolling the center in 1 and 2 extremely well right now. Jim Caudill Jr. is just waiting for something to happen. But if we get the white flag lap and these guys are as they are right now, you best believe someone is just going to lick the stamp and sit it in there as hard as they can, and there's going to be some door-to-door action as we're at 10 to go. Jim Caudill Jr. is up to beside David Krikorian here now. Loses a little bit of ground out of turn 2. These guys have been putting on a hell of a show all race long. If you've been with us all race long, you're probably on your second bag of popcorn because this thing has been exciting from start to coming down to the finish now. You're David Krikorian, you're doing what you're doing is he's going to look low coming out of turn 4, 3 wide. They end up coming back to single file and figuring it out, but these guys are putting on a great show. I'm barely containing myself. If you're in your seat, you need to get out because this is some exciting stuff here as Joe Schaefer Jr.'s moved down just a little bit. Looks like he lost a little drive in doing so, but he's still maintaining first place as he smacks it off the wall just a little bit. David Krikorian's just up there. He won't have any paint on that right side of the car. There goes Jim Caudill Jr. down to the apron. He might make some headway down there as he pulls up next to David Krikorian. Lap times are about equal across the top 3. Joe Schaefer Jr. is about a tenth faster than David Krikorian that last lap. As Joe Schaefer Jr. starting to pull away here a little bit, showing some muscle. Car might have got pretty tight on him there in the early run, but now we're back to green. Getting the tire temps back up. Yeah, he clicked off an 18:59 that last time, man. He's pulled out all the stops here towards the end. During what was a great race, he's trying to stink up these last 10 laps. We're at 5 to go. Yeah, he's out to about a 3.5 tenths second of a lead. Jim Caudill Jr. is trying to work over DK for second. Oh, David Krikorian was faster that lap, but only by about 300ths. DK can finally get that car rolling in 1 and 2. He might be able to trim down that lead and at least get to the rear bumper of Joe Schaefer Jr. If he can get to the rear bumper of Joe Schaefer Jr., all bets are off. going for a win here at the Sim Auto Racing Association. It's hard enough to just get in this race, let alone win it. So bragging rights are definitely on the line. Three laps to go, 2 to go here. Joe Schaefer Jr. is well in control. David Krikorian is at the very, very top. And they pretty much, I mean, they were on top of each other for the lap times there, that last lap. They both ran an 18:67. Schaefer just had a 7 at the tail end of his, and DK had a 6, which were 1 to go here in the SARATV 150 at Irwindale Speedway. Joe Schaefer Jr. gets through 1 and 2 cleanly. If he can do the same thing in 3 and 4, we'll see what David Krikorian does. He's still going to ride the top side. He may try to cut it down low. It's not going to be enough here tonight as Joe Schaefer Jr. comes away with the win here at the SARATV 150 at Irwindale Speedway. David Krikorian comes in second, Jim Caudell Jr. third, Tyler Breeding fourth, and Ryan Doucette rounds out your top 5. What a fantastic race. Those two guys put on a heck of a performance. David Krikorian just didn't have quite enough to find his way around Joe Schaefer Jr. and ends up finishing second. Jim Caudell Jr. with a hell of a drive coming up here and finishing third here tonight. And we'll see Joe Schaefer Jr. here doing his best Polish victory lap. I mean, what a great race. You couldn't ask for any more. You had cars from top to bottom trying different lanes, and you had those two guys, and Joe Schaefer Jr. and David Krikorian just rim riding and showing you how to get it done around this joint. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more as far as a race goes. There was 2 cautions, one early on, one a little bit later, set up that last 19-lap run to the finish. Joe Schaefer Jr., David Krikorian, and Jim Caudell Jr. were giving it everything that they had. You've seen Jim Caudell Jr. coming out of 4, just wheeling it in a thing sideways. David Krikorian got a loose couple of times. Schaefer up in the wall. I mean, these guys were giving it everything that they could here tonight for the win. And I couldn't be more proud to sponsor a race for SARATV here at the Irwindale Speedway. I mean, that was one heck of a show that they just put on. It shows you that even from last week at Oxford Plains, where a lot of guys struggled, the guys are starting to figure out these cars with this new build. And some people don't like it still, but I say these guys are wheeling the cars, and it puts on a heck of a show. We'll go ahead and pull up the results. We'll go through this real quick as the drivers are getting out of the car, and we'll get word here, at least with try to get the word with your top 3. David Krikorian's out in his car now. Big winner here tonight, Joe Schaefer Jr. He said he started 4th. He's +3 here tonight. He ended up leading 106 laps, so pretty much dominated the race once he got out front, but it wasn't because David Krikorian wasn't trying. He was all over him the whole race, who ended up finishing second, 3/10 behind him. Jim Caudell Jr., last week's winner, comes away with a 3rd place finish. 4th was Tyler Breeding. 5th was Ryan Doucette. 6th was the old Wally Vet. 7th was Keith Medeiros. 8th, Brendan Wilkinson. 9th, Matt Rolfe. And 10th was Jimmy Mullis. We'll go through the rest of the results here in just a moment. Let's see if we can go ahead and get a word with Joe Schaefer, or excuse me, with Jim Caudell Jr. He's getting out of his car here. Jim, man, you had a great run here tonight. You started 10th due to the winning last week, due to the invert, and made your way up to 3rd. You gave David Krikorian and Joe Schaefer Jr. everything you can, or what you could there at the end, and you put on a heck of a race. But why don't you tell us a little bit about your night and how things went?
Yeah, it's hard to be disappointed with that. It was tough to pass tonight. It was really cool to watch those guys run the top too. I mean, I didn't have nothing for that, but we just had to try and live with the middle. And I think I freed up a little too much, knowing that I'd have to turn well to get through the traffic. And after I got to 3rd, my right rear got really hot. It took me like 20 laps to cool it back off to where I could kind of mirror their lap times. And looked like, of course, I think probably Joe was protecting a little bit, but we ran him down from about 3.5 seconds to about 2.5 before the caution. But those guys got going really good on the restart, and I took a couple shots on the bottom, but just not enough forward traction. But like I said, it's hard to be disappointed with it. It's a pretty good run for us.
Yeah, I mean, that's back-to-back weeks. You're having a good run here. You're having a good season so far in the top five. I think even a top three in points. So you come away third here. The problem with that is the point leader won the race tonight. But that's neither here nor there. Like I said, you ran well here once again tonight. You were one of the few cars that were making passes down to the inside. And we watched you throughout the race, make some passes and work your way up to the front. So there's definitely nothing to be shameful of. Now, next week, we will be at Langley Speedway. Not sure if you tested anything there or not, but what do you look forward to for next week?
I haven't ran a lap there in a pretty good while, but I figure our Oxford stuff will be a pretty good base for there, and knowing it was pretty good. Tough track to race on, be another tough track to probably pass on, but still looking forward to it. Our stuff's fun to drive right now. Like to get it a little bit better next week. And after you kind of mentioned the points, it's really incredible what Joe's doing. I mean, it's going to be about impossible to catch him unless he has quite a few bad weeks. Heck, I think we took ourselves out of the points in the first 2 weeks and ran like 12th and 10th. So that's how good his season's been. So it'll be fun next week. Hopefully we can come out and run pretty good.
Well, we'll definitely keep an eye on you. You've shown some strength here, especially in the past 2 weeks. And before we get you on your way and put you on the third spot on the podium, is there any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Yeah. My wife was watching again this week. Mom, sister, my manager Chris from C&J, the guys there that'll go back and watch the replay. The guys at the association. Tyler Breeden had a great run tonight. His car was very, very good. And I've told a lot of people through the week that I thought he might be the favorite to win it. So good to see him run good. Tyler came from pretty good ways back, TP, and ran good. So I think he got caught up in something on the last lap there. But we had some speed. I wish Cam could have got Cam had some issues, but wish he could have got up there. Again, thanks to you guys for doing the broadcast. Again, love watching those after the race, and thanks to Matt, the guys that put it on. So had fun and look forward to Langley.
Yes, sir. Well, like I said, we'll definitely keep an eye out for you. Congratulations again here for finishing third tonight, and have a good night. And we'll see you next week, bud.
Thank you, Derek.
All right, that's Jim Caudell Jr. coming away in third place here tonight. It's been showing some strength here in the past couple of weeks, so he's definitely a guy to keep an eye on next week for our support our troops 150 at Langley Speedway. Currently, we got the guy who finished second. It seemed like he was running there all night tonight, David Kokorian. DK, you had a great run here tonight. Just came up just a little bit short there of the win. What were you lacking there just to get around Joe, or what maybe could you have done differently to put him up a little bit more of a better battle there for the lead?
Probably a little more forward drive, and if there was any way to kind of maybe get the front end off the pogo stick over the bumps, but apparently Joe's having an issue too, so I'm kind of guessing everyone's having that issue at the same time.
Well, I mean, you two put on a heck of a battle. We rode on board with you there for a few laps because, early on in that second stint there, after that first caution, we seen you venture up towards the top, and you're always the first one to venture up there, especially here at Irwindale Speedway. That's kind of what you master at. We talked about your dirt experience and maybe how that came into play just a little bit as well. And I don't know how you do it, but it's super impressive to watch here. But you had a strong run. We're at Langley next week, and I brought it up to Jim Caudell Jr. and what he thought of it, and what do you think, and how do you think you can fare next week at Langley Speedway?
I don't know. The one time we ran Langley here like 2-3 years ago, it wasn't pretty.
Well, things could change, right? Especially with the new build, we got a lot of quality drivers up here. And, things can definitely change for that. Now, you've shown some strength as well with this new build and everything. And like I said, you and Joe put on a heck of a show. I'm not too sure if you ever got into the wall or scraped the wall. It looked like maybe you did a couple of times here tonight. But we'll just say that you didn't, just to be that more impressive. But before we get you on your way or anything, is there like any thanks or shout-outs you'd like to give so you can finish on the P2 podium?
I give a shout out to Wheeling Deal, and the setup was okay last night, and made a quick couple changes just to get the front end to turn a little better, and it worked out enough. And as much as I say I didn't scrape the wall, with how that front end's poker sticking over the bumps, we kind of got a few Darlington stripes in there tonight.
Well, congratulations here once again on finishing second. Like I said, you and Joe put on a heck of a show. It was a blast to watch. Unfortunately, you came up one position short, but good luck to you next week at Langley, and maybe we'll speak to you there and where you finish on the top box.
Yeah, we'll see. Thank you.
All right, bud. That's David Kokorian coming away in second place here tonight. We'll go ahead and bring in the three-time series champion, tonight's winner here for the SARATV 150, Joe Schaefer Jr. Joe, bud, you and David Kokorian put on a hell of a show all night long. You led 106 laps here tonight. You had a late caution with about 19 to go when you went back to green. How nervous were you, and what did you do to hold off David Kokorian?
Well, first I want to say great job to DK, and thanks for not running me too hard, because he definitely could have sent it in there a couple times and got me loose, but he ran me clean, so I appreciate that. But that late restart, my biggest concern was getting the car going again. You know how it is. I mean, it's hard to put the power back down after the tires are old, and those few laps under caution were enough to kind of cool off that upper groove, but not as high as we were racing all night. So I could kind of get a little more comfortable and be off the wall, and I was able to hold them off. But would have liked to run a little lower during the race, but I couldn't risk. I think I might have been a little faster to run lower, but I couldn't risk letting DK get a fender to my high side, because if he would have got there, he'd have been gone.
Yeah, I mean, he was on your bumper all night. I mean, like you stated, he did race really clean. David Kokorian usually races clean no matter what, what series, what track, or anything. But like I said, y'all put on a heck of a show. There, after the caution, as I said it in the broadcast, it almost seems like you got your elbows up and started digging there, son. I mean, you were about a half a tenth, maybe 2/10 faster than DK on some laps, and you pulled the small gap there as well. So you definitely got something figured out and pulled away with the victory. Now, I'll ask you the same thing that I asked David Kokorian and Jim Caldwell Jr. Next week, we're at Langley Speedway, and as David Kokorian touched on, we haven't been there in a few seasons. So what's your expectations going into next week, especially being the point leader?
Well, I'm kind of looking forward to it. At the beginning of the season, I probably would have told you that I'd be dreading it, but I want to take our Oxford setup back out to a little flat track like that. I don't think we got to show everything that Oxford setup has last week, so I want to put that to work, and we'll get Ty Majeski going on it again. I can't thank him enough tonight. Bill Martin and him, they're pretty much carrying me along here so far for this points chase. It was really nice to have Ty. I know he's in a hotel in New York getting ready to race, but he logged on this afternoon and helped me dial in the car, so I was really comfortable with it. So that was huge for me tonight.
Well, that's what teammates are for, right? I mean, a lot of these guys in here, if not all of them, have some type of teammate, and it's obviously to help them out. Now, it does help that you have one of the best super late model drivers in real life and on the iRacing service on your team. So maybe y'all can come up with something next week, and I'll be talking to you again, and you can put it back on the top box. But before we get you on your way so you can go celebrate, is there any thanks or shout-outs you'd like to give, sponsors or anything?
Yeah, all the posse guys that I mentioned, Spearman, Drew, Bill, and especially Majeski tonight. I thank Charlie at the Button Box Shops and Media Solutions, Cody at Loco Toco Designs, and as always, you guys and Matt for giving me something to watch at work on Friday mornings.
Well, I mean, you're going to go back and watch this, and you're going to probably watch it twice because there's some exciting racing going on all across the track. You were on the broadcast a lot tonight, so that's probably one reason why you're going to watch it. And like I said, you and David Kokorian put on a heck of a show, and hopefully you can have a repeat performance next week. And for everyone else, you'll have to tune in and see if our three-time series champion ends up putting it back on the top spot. So, Joe, we'll get you on your way. Congratulations here again on your win at the SARATV 150, and we'll catch you next week, bud.
All right, thank you.
All right, that's Joe Schaefer Jr. Like I said, big win for him tonight. As he stated, he's going into next week in Langley, and he's definitely going to be the one to watch as he's, like I say, he's a series point leader, and he just extends his point lead even more. He's already got a pole. He's got a top 5 in every race so far, and he just came away with his first win of the season. So Mr. Momentum is definitely on his side. We'll go ahead and pull up the results here. We'll go through the rest of them. Went through the top 10 just not too long ago. We'll go through the rest of them. There's Dallas Matasco, who started on the pole here tonight due to the invert, ended up finishing 11th. Tyler Price ended up finishing 12th after running in the top 10 for the majority of the night, but according to Jim Caldwell Jr., he got caught up there towards the end. We weren't able to capture that as we were watching the leaders. 13th was Ryan Matthews. 14th was Daniel Williamson. 15th, Donald Clark coming back to a top 15 finish after getting caught up in that early wreck, so good for him. Jason Miller ended up finishing 16th and being our second caution there late in the race. 17th was Russell Berry. 18th was Matthew Eddy. 19th, A.J. Rogers. 20th was Alan Pajari. 21st was Mark Royer. 22nd, Grant Brown. 23rd, Trevor Edwards, was part of our first caution there. 24th was Drew Kryback. 25th was Cameron Hamilton. Not too sure what happened with him. He had some issues as he was running up front early in the race. 26th was Ben Nile, and 27th was Michael Goddard. Go ahead and bring up the series sponsors here one more time to give them some love, because like I stated, and I cannot overemphasize, we cannot do it without these guys. We got Sim Marketing Solutions, who sponsors tonight's series, the Invite Series for the Sim Marketing Solutions Super Series. Say that 10 times fast. Davis Chassis Works for the Contender Series on Wednesday nights. Hides Pride Leather and Sheepskin, and I'll get to that here in just one second, for their head-to-head throwdown, and they sponsor a bunch of races and everything. They've been with us for a while. Midwest Power Source Inc., Callaway Investments, who sponsors our Tuesday Night Sportsman Series. They've been with us for a while as well, so thank you to those guys. RaceOnes.us, Canadian Rail Serve, The Hub Used Sim Racing Giveaways, Loco Toco Designs, who do a lot of the paint schemes here for us tonight and all across the service. Definitely hit those guys up. They got some sharp-looking rides. Dynamic Auto Sports, USO, who's going to be our sponsor next week for the Support Our Troops 150 at Langley Speedway. It's a night race. 150 laps there. K&M Racing Series, it's a great fixed setup league. They run the B-class car, and on Sunday nights they run the UMP car. And the East-West Modifieds. So that's going to do it for us here tonight at SARA TV for the SARA TV 150. Joe Schaefer Jr. came away after leading 106 laps with the important victory to lengthen his point lead. And we'll see what he ends up doing next week at Langley Speedway. That little short track, there's bound to be some great side-by-side action and beat and bang in there. So don't miss one single lap. Join us next week via YouTube, or we may be on iRacing Live once again next week. And you'll see the best short track racing, super late model drivers on the service battle it out for 150 laps there around that bull ring. That's going to do it for us here tonight. Like I said, producer is Clay Snyder. I'm your host, Derek Robinson. This is SARA TV. You all have a good night.